All right, so this is Kennard Vernon Stewart for the Auburn Fanatics podcast. With the boy Vernon speaks sports to Auburn down in deep south. College football is king and on the plains of Auburn. The battle cries war eagle. But we talk about a little bit more than just Auburn football. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on post SEC Media Days, which I find a little on the entertaining side, maybe more hilarious than anything else. We talk about my boy Jackson Arnold. Yes, this is a car cast. Matter of fact, let me put my freaking seatbelt on. Um, Look, Jackson Arnold was a big topic of discussion for the Auburn Tigers during the SEC media days, and rightfully so. Where has Auburn's problems on offense been the most directed? Well, it's been the most directed at the quarterback position. Decision making, not being intentional with where he wants to throw the football, second guessing himself, all of those different things were a factor. Yes, have been a factor. Was a factor in the Brian Harsin era, if you want to call that an era. Uh, Bo Nix was the best thing that happened to Brian Harsin during that time from a quarterback standpoint. But after that, an absolute debacle between Robbie Ashford and TJ Finley. In addition to just absolute comedy for personnel from a player standpoint. But even with that, they still managed to have wins over Texas A&M. They still managed to take Alabama. How they didn't beat Alabama in 2021, I think I still don't know. I mean, it was just some last minute stuff at home, and that just goes to show Auburn is a hard team to beat if you're Alabama in hair. It's just hard to beat. Now there have been some years where you're just that much more talented than Auburn, but for the most part, Alabama catches straight up. I mean, straight up hell in Auburn, and it's just absolutely phenomenal how that works. But either way, we go to the media outlets, SEC media outlets, and you got Ryan Harper that says, "Look, straight up, Jackson Arnold was not a good quarterback at Auburn." Roman Harper was not trying to hear the fact that, the wide receiver position was depleted. Offensive line really wasn't all that good. A couple of different court, he wasn't trying to hear it. Now that he's at Auburn, now we know who Roman Harper is. I ain't gonna call him out. Got a lot of respect for him. Really liked him as a football player too. But you know, I think you gotta, as a podcaster or as a media pundit, you gotta play all the space. You gotta play all the cards. You know what I'm saying? And to leave out the fact that all that he didn't have all the tools needed, in my opinion. No more than Peyton Thorne had all the tools he needed. But as Hugh Freeze started to add to the equation at Auburn, wide receiver wise, got just a little bit better at the offensive line. Peyton Thorne got better. You look at the stats. Go to ESPN. I'm not going to post this tonight. I just don't have that kind of time. But look at year one. Look at year two. Peyton Thorne got better. Keandre Lambert-Smith, coming from Penn State, was a better wide receiver when he came to Auburn. Wound up getting drafted. 4th, 5th round, something like that. Better wide receiver. Cam Coleman looked like he was going to be a bust in his first year as a 5-star recruit. Last few games, they started to kind of pour it on. Cam Coleman, one of the best wide receivers in the country as a freshman, did better than most of his peers down the stretch. So I'm trying to understand, where, because the Auburn hate is always going to come. You gotta know it's coming. You gotta know it's coming. Auburn fans were feeling really good about media days. Hugh Freeze got up there and he basically laid it out there. Hey, Auburn is going to be some team that you're going to talk about late in the year. And we know that there's a lot more opportunity to win the national championship now than it used to be. It used to be you got to win your conference championship, and it comes down to 4 teams. Now you have a spread it out college football playoff that had a lot of teams in there. Last year, to be honest with you, I think Auburn could have beat. Now and I know I want you to flood the comment section if you think what I just said was crazy. If you don't think Auburn could have beat SMU, get in the comment section and just call me just straight up crazy, bananas, a homer. Call me all of those things. Right? Call me all those things. But either way, I think Jackson Arnold has to just to kind of revamp well, not revamp, but just kind of recap what Roman Harper said. Roman Harper said, look, you gotta be intentional with the football. You know what I'm saying? You gotta also anticipate. I thought that was a great term that Roman Harper used because as an SEC quarterback, you have to, because these are some of, I'd say, high quality cornerbacks. Now you have high quality linebackers that can break off into coverage and that can change some things very quickly for you. I've even seen from a concept scenario where defensive line drops back in coverage and confuse things for you. So you have to study film for one. You have to know what your opponent is, and you have to understand that I believe that Auburn has one of the top wide receiver cores in the country. I think they've done some things as far as upgrades on the offensive line that will give them a little bit more leverage, give Jackson Arnold a little bit more time, and give him a little bit more confidence. Now, this whole job about, you know, Auburn head football coach Hugh Freeze saying, look, we asked the defense to take it easy on Jackson Arnold to make him feel more comfortable. If it is true, I hope it's not, because that is absolutely asinine. This is my time here, guys. I'm glad to be back. Go ahead and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports, Auburn Football Fanatics podcast with your boy Vernon Speaks Sports. Auburn, go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. War M effing Eagle.